I remember one night, Daddy alikuja nyumbani na hasira. And he really beat up my mom. Vita ambao sijawahi ona mpaka wa leo. Because my mom is a small lady and my dad is a big man. And he just threw her. I'll never forget that image. I was standing on the bedroom door. Na baba alishika tu mom kichwa hivi. Kaigonga kwa ukuta. I just saw blood. Aligonga mahali hapa ikapasuka. So I just saw blood in a spring hivi inatoka. And I was so scared. And as small as I was, I just called out to the name of God. And I rushed outside the house. So I'm running to our neighbors. Mama Stella, kujeni Daddy ataua mom. And one major problem that he had with me and my mom is the fact that alipata mtoto msichana, firstborn, na alitaka kijana. So I could hear him sometimes coming home and arguing with my mom, mbona ulinizalia msichana, mtoto useless ambaye ataenda kuolewa huko nje. Ni mwanamke bure kabisa. I wanted a boy. Na kama uwezo kaniletea kijana hauna maana kwangu wewe na huo mtoto wako, mtaenda kule mnachua. And it used to break my heart. Because as a small girl, when you're born, your dad is your hero.
And you love your dad.
And he was this tall, big man. So charming to people out there. Daddy alikuwa ule mtu akiingia mahali, kila mtu anamsherekea. But little did they know that the situation back home was very different. And that's where now I lost hope for a minute. I started drinking. I was angry. I felt lost. I felt like life was unfair to me. I'm trying so hard. Mbona imefika hapa? I could not understand what was going on.
Hello and a warm welcome to the show. My name is Lynn Ngugi. Now, I know if you are firstborn in a family, you are going to relate to this topic because let's admit, firstborn sacrifice a lot to get their siblings where they are today. But what happens when that role is coupled with a lot of emotional blackmail? How do you come out of it? My guest today is about to take us through her story. But before I can let her introduce herself, allow me to say thank you to Elegance Fashion Kenya for this amazing outfit that I love so much, and you guys can check them out for a couple of nice dresses, skirts, whatever, and their contact details will be right here. And also thank you to Westwood Hotel for giving us this amazing space so that we are able to bring you conversations that have the ability to impact lives. And now, without further ado, please allow me to let my guest today introduce herself. Hello, hello.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, mommy.
Nice to see you today.
How are you?
I'm good. So my full names are Lynette Achieng Titus.
Yes.
I am half Luo, half Kamba.
Yeah.
My late dad is Luo. My
Yeah.
mom is Kamba.
Yeah.
I come from Nyakach, upande wa dad, and upande wa mom natoka Mwea Tebere huku kwa Mchele.
Yeah.
Mi ni mzaliwa wa Mbere district.
Okay.
Huko ndani mashinani.
Yes.
And that's pretty much where I grew up, where
Yeah.
my parents made a home for us growing up. And even in high school, I went to Kieni Girls High School.
Yeah.
It's in Runyenjes in
Yes.
Embu. And then I came to Nairobi, UON.
Yeah.
That's where I started out my undergraduate.
Yes.
And today I'm just going to be here to share the details of my life as a firstborn and the challenges that I've been through, and just as a testimony of what God can do,
Yeah.
and the miracles of God and the wonders of God.
Allow me to say, you look absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you so
And
much.
I love that the fact that you look like this, it also this is how you look, because I know you from somewhere. I have known you from Instagram. This is the first time I'm meeting you in person.
Yes.
And the way I see the way I see you handle yourself on IG,
Yeah.
it's the same person. And when we spoke about you you sharing the challenges of a firstborn. You said, Lynn, me, I'm not a victim, I am a victim. I'm loving that about my guests lately because they have stopped identifying themselves as victims.
Yeah.
They are saying, this is a story of victory.
Yes.
I'm not looking back and letting people term me as a victim. I'm not.
I'm
You
taking my
ready?
power back.
You're taking your power back?
Yes.
You ready to take us through your story?
Yes, I am.
Please, by all means.
So I'll start from the beginning.
Yes, please.
My father, the late Mr. Titus, and my mom met way back early in the 90s. Mom tells me that she was just out of high school when she met dad.
Yeah.
Kimaliza Shule the year following. That's when now she went to visit her sister in a small town called Kiva. And dad was working with her sister at the time. My aunt is late at the moment.
Yeah.
So she connected the two of them. And the moment my mom saw my dad, ananiambia, I saw my husband, Lynette. I saw your dad and I knew this is where I am going to make a home for the rest of my life. And so before hata maneno iende mbali, she was already married. They went to their respective homes and they started a life together. Come 1993, 12th of October, I came to exist.
Yes.
And my mom gives me a funny story that she did not know what to name me when she was giving birth to me in the hospital. So the nurse comes and she asks her, mtoto ataitwa nani? And she says the name Lynette. She does not know where it came from. She had not even ever thought of a name like that. But the words just came out of her mouth, Lynette.
Yeah.
And I did research and came to find out that the name Lynn in French means a beautiful flower.
Ah, come on now.
It's true.
Oh, yes.
And then dad chose my second name, Achieng.
Yeah.
Achieng means sunshine, bright light. In Luo, Chieng is the sun.
Yes.
And so in many ways right now, when I think back then,
Yeah.
I feel like God ordained that name. And now my surname, Titus, means a strong leader in Hebrew. So you're a strong leader who's a beautiful flower and who's a ray of sunshine. And it wasn't always that clear to me what my name meant. Because when they had me, they came from a very poor place. Dad was still working as a anaitwaje mfyekanyasi at the time when we
Yeah.
had KPLC.
Yes.
So he started off as a casual worker. And they were living in this tiny single room uko kwa Kenjen.
Yeah.
And my mom tells me it was hard. When I was born, she did not have clothes for the baby, even a baby show. Lina was wrapped in a nurse old uniform. The midwife went to the store and got an old uniform, and that is what she brought to my mom to cover me. I did not have clothes. I did not have any basic needs. And even when dad came, he came with only one pair of dress. And my mom says that that one pair of dress, I wore it for almost 2 months of me being in this world, until now her friends, her neighbors came in to help her. Hapana mtoto hawezi kaa hivi mama Chieng, wacha tukusaidie na hii. So from my early beginnings of life, nilikuwa mtoto wa watu. Mtoto ambaye Mungu analeta watu kumsaidia asikose.
Yes.
And now, growing up at around age of 3, that is when our problems started in the marriage. This is according to my mom's narration. So dad was able to rise up in the job when Kenjen and KPLC split. Now we have Kenjen and KPLC. He got into Kenjen.
Yeah.
And he started off as I think he started off in the club. So Kenjen set up, they have an estate and there's a clubhouse where the employees can go and eat with their family, and there's like a swimming pool. So dad akapata kazi kama barman.
Oh.
So he was being trained there. And unfortunately, as he was working there and exposed to so much alcohol and fun and the women and the lifestyle, he got sucked into it. Remember, he's coming from a family of almost 13 children back in the village in Nyakach, and he's the only one who had found an opportunity that put him somewhere better.
And in Nairobi.
In Nairobi, you know, in that kind of an
Yes.
environment. So I think the excitement of being in a different point of his life and being able to do things that he could never even imagine, it really got into him.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, dad started drinking a lot. And these are things I remember vividly. He would come home late from work. He would come angry, bang the door, fungwa saa zingine avunje mlango, mama atoke nje, amtoe nje na mimi, yeye aingie kwa nyumba alale. So at the time I was still young, 3-4 years. So you can tell there's a problem going on, but you don't fully understand it.
Yeah.
Flash forward, we get to around the age of 7 and 8, thereabout. Class 3, class 4. Hapo naelewa mambo because nikuwa msharp. Mungu ameniumba, I'm a very sharp person.
God.
So I'm able to understand things from a very early age. And now I could see clearly that the things dad is doing are not okay. And one major problem that he had with me and my mom is the fact that alipata mtoto msichana, firstborn, na alitaka kijana. So I could hear him sometimes coming home and arguing with my mom, mbona ulinizalia msichana, mtoto useless ambaye ataenda kuolewa huko nje. Ni mwanamke bure kabisa. I wanted a boy. Na kama uwezo kaniletea kijana hauna maana kwangu wewe na huo mtoto wako, mtaenda kule mnachua. And it used to break my heart. Because as a small girl, when you're born, your dad is your hero.
And you love your dad.
And he was this tall, big man. So charming to people out there. Daddy alikuwa ule mtu akiingia mahali, kila mtu anamsherekea. But little did they know that the situation back home was very different.
Outside, he's this person.
Yes. Outside is this charming, hardworking, yani efficient man. But when it comes home, all the pain in him, he would take it out on my mom and myself. So nilianza kujua kulala kwa watu, kuomba yani mahali pa kulala na mamangu even before I knew what life is. I was used to feeling less because when he comes home and he throws you out, ni jirani atawasaidia na mahali pa kulala. So you learn to shrink yourself and be small because he already hates me. That's how I thought. He already hates me for existing. I don't want him to hate me for the things I do or the things I say. So you are just there. You don't want to talk a lot. You don't want to do a lot of things because anything might trigger him at any point. I went to Seven Forks Primary School. And in many ways, that place is where I got to shape myself. The teachers there loved me. I was a bright student. I was the first girl in KCP of my time, my year. And it was not easy, Lynn, because there are days when he would throw us away and I can't go to school. I remember one night, Daddy alikuja nyumbani na hasira and he really beat up my mom. Vita ambao sijawahi ona mpaka wa leo. Because my mom is a small lady and my dad is a big man. And he just threw her. I'll never forget that image. I was standing on the bedroom door. Na baba alishika tu mam kichwa hivi. Akaigonga kwa ukuta. I just saw blood. Aligonga mahali hapa ikapasuka. So I just saw blood in a spring hivi inatoka. And I was so scared. And as small as I was, I just called out to the name of God. And I rushed outside the house. So I'm running to our neighbors. Mama Stella, kujeni daddy ataua mom.
It's okay.
It's tough. It's tough for me because these are memories that I've repressed for many years. But now when I talk about it, everything is so clear. And so the neighbors came. They were like, Titus, unafanya makosa. Titus, unaharibu nyumba yako. Hata kama huwataki, afadhali utupatie wao. Give us this woman and this child. We will find a way to take care of them. Yeah. Don't kill her.
Kill her.
Chukua upeleke kuna mnataka. Took our clothes and threw them outside. It is 2 a.m. in the morning. The next day you're supposed to go to school. And your classmates are standing outside your house. Uni estate. So wametoka kwa manyumba zao. Neni baba Chenga anataka kuwa Cheng na mama yake. And they are just crying and they can't help me. So that time we ran to the pastor's house. So my mama, she goes to Full Gospel Churches of Kenya. That is the church that I was brought up in by my mom. So we went to the pastor at night. And if I can give you an idea of Kiambere, Kiambere is a God-forsaken place. Ni ndani, interior, where we have the dams. So it's very interior. When you get out of the Kenyan camp, it's nothing but a forest. A forest. And so I remember nimevaa slippers, my mom is in her night dress, damu inachiriririza hapa. Alikuwa amemvunja mbavu hii side, na mimi niko hapa nalia, nimevaa slippers na ka night dress tu vile alituamsha, and I'm holding on to my mom's dress. And the distance going to the pastor's house is like 5 kilometers. Na ni usiku. And the moment you get out of the secure area, this is a forest where we have animals, we have even a trachea elephants, like it's literally a forest. And I can tell you that today is when I can realize that it's God who walked with us from that gate up to the pastor's house, because nobody attacked us, no animal attacked us. She was bleeding, she didn't faint, she did not become unconscious. She just held on to me and told me, my daughter, ni mimi na wewe mpaka mwisho, na siwezi nikakuacha nyuma.
God.
And to my mom, up to this day, I bless her for that. She had so many situations that would have guaranteed, you know, I'm still a young lady. This kid, babake yako, acha nimwache na babake na niende niolewe mahali pengine. But from those young age, my mom told me, you are not a normal child. Nilikutoa kwa Mungu. Na sitakuachia kitu ambacho Mungu amenipea, sitaachia shetani.
Yes.
And up to this day, that is what my mom speaks over my life.
Wow.
That Lynette, you are a special child for me, according to me. And I'm never gonna let you go, no matter how hard things get.
I love that.
I will stand with you. Anasemanga hata kama nakula ugali na chumvi.
Yes.
As long as I have my kids with me, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So we got to the pastor's house. And the pastor took mom in, called the ambulance. Aliletwa hapa Aga Khan, Nairobi. She was hospitalized for, I think, around 3 weeks.
Oh.
The time my class teacher, Mrs. Odongo, and I really bless that teacher. And I want to bless her publicly and tell her thank you. Mrs. Odongo and Mr. Odongo, they took me in. This is my class teacher. Bwanake alikuwa anafanya kazi na dad,
Yeah.
but in a different station. So as we in Kiambere station, wao wako Kamburu station. They took me in as their own child. Mwalimu wangu alikuwa anatoka shule kufunza, anakuja anakaa chini na mimi, ananifunza kile alifunza kwa class. Wakati wa exam ikifika, watu wanafanya exam shule, anakuja na makaratasi zangu. She had a bedroom somewhere. She sits me there and gives me the exam by myself. I do the papers, unassisted, and she takes my results back to school because she did not want me to be locked out of the system. And she told my mom, and even sometimes she would tell my dad, I will not allow any of you in your wrangles to destroy the future of this child. If I have to coach her and teach her privately, I will do. Because Lynette will not just end up being a nobody. This child is bright.
Wow.
And Mrs. Odongo did not need to help me, but she did.
But she did.
And up to this day, she still checks up on me. This is somebody who calls me her daughter. Yani mimi nasema guardian angels exist.
You are surrounded by them.
In different ways. You cannot always see it, because God will not bring something and say, hey, here I am. No. But you will find that in the moments of despair, somebody somewhere will just come to you with a pure heart and carry you from point A to point B. So tukaendelea hivyo na hiyo back and forth. Mama anakaa nyumbani kidogo kwa wazazi wake. Wazazi wanamwambia rudi kwa bwana yako. Sisi hakuna vile tutakusaidia hapa nyumbani. Her dad was the one who would champion for her, but he passed on at a point when I was still young. So my grandmother on my mom's side used to be a woman who believes in fighting through the troubles of marriage.
Yeah.
So she would tell her, Salome, my mom is called Salome. Salome, I think you should just go back to your husband because you have a kid here who needs to go to school, and I don't want you to come here and start surviving and your child will just, you know, atakuwa tu mtu mwenye hana mbele wala nyuma. Just go back. Vumilia, vumilia, vumilia. At some point when I was in class 6, I remember challenging my mom and asked her, Mom, why do you always come back to this man, knowing that nothing is gonna change? He will embarrass us. He will deny us. Shikana na babako life mbele ya watu. I don't know you. I'm not your father. Enda utafute mwenye utaita baba huko. You look like him. You are built like him, you talk like him. It broke me. It broke my confidence. It broke my self-worth. Because if the person who brought me to this earth does not want anything to do with me, who will want anything to do with me? Kama babangu mzazi anitaki, nani hapa nje atanisikiza? Na baba ndiye anafaa kunisimamia, kunipigania, kunionyesha njia. So I was already going through so many difficult emotional challenges that I didn't even understand at a very young age. And so you find yourself unaji-exclude kwa watu. I didn't want to involve myself in people's activities. And remember when you're in the house, Dad would be like, I don't want you to go to anybody's house. I don't want you to talk to anyone. Even my mom was not allowed to have friends. If Dad comes and finds out that Linet alitoka kaenda kacheza na mtoto wa jirani, utachapwa. Nani alikutuma huko? Unaenda huko kuambia maneno yenye yanaendelea kwenu. And that is something I have to speak about actually kidogo. When you're dealing with a man or a woman who is still in pain from things that have happened in their life and they're taking it out on you, they like to keep you in silence. They will not allow you to interact with other people because they have an image to maintain out there. So at work, Dad was known to be this strong, straightforward person. How will he allow my mom to go and tell the neighbor that this and this happened? No. So you stay in the house.
And you keep quiet.
Keep quiet. And when he comes in, I remember my dad would just walk in the house and baridi fulani tu inawaingia. You don't want to do much. You don't want to say much. Mama amekaa huko karibu na mlango ya jikoni. Because according to him, that is all us women were good for.
Yeah.
Mungu akafungua njia na my talent. Now where I came to realize that I was pretty talented when it came to mambo za creativity. So when I was in class 6, my drama teacher, Mrs. Ondiek, she's still alive. I bless you, teacher, wherever you are. Mrs. Ondiek saw I easily master things like poems, long, however long they were.
You would master them.
I would master them because my mind has been trained from a young age to be very quick and very attentive to my environment. And so as much as that was built on a bad place ya vita na violence kwa nyumba, pale shuleni ilinisaidia, nikom sharp, nikom quick on my feet. And so that's when I started expressing myself through poems, divisional, district, up to the national level.
Good.
And so school now became a place of comfort for me.
You.
I would actually feel sad when we are closing school because najua nikienda nyumbani sitakuwa na ile amani yenye niko nao nikiwa shule. So I'm the type of child who used to look forward to going back to school.
Yes.
Because when I'm in school, the teachers understand me, my friends are there, I have activities that are building my confidence.
Yeah.
And that's when I began to see exactly the light in me. What is God trying to do in my life?
Yeah.
Nikaingia swimming, I'm in the swimming team, I'm in the drama team, I'm in the debate club, I'm in the science club. And so nilijituma na nikajipeana kwa activities za shule. Ndio nifunike ile uchungu na ile aibu ambayo na feel whenever I'm at home.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when now I would perform well, that's when Dad would now recognize who I am. That's when he would come to school and brag.
My daughter.
My daughter, my daughter, my daughter. And it was very conflicting because the same person who's praising you is the same person who at home does not want anything to do with you.
And it's very confusing for a child. Does he love me? Does he hate me?
What is going on?
Yeah.
And so from my young age now, the negative part of it is that a child who grows up in that kind of an environment, you strive to be an overachiever because you realize it's only when you do big things that your father will love you.
You want to please him.
Thank you.
So you are going to do whatever it takes.
So it takes away the innocence of childhood. Because a parent is supposed to love a child whether they are doing amazing things or not. But sasa mimi, nimeona, kwa kukua tu Linet hivi vile niko, antaki. Wacha nijitume kwa anything that I can do. I be the best that I can be so that he can see that I am worthy, even if I'm a girl. And I used to tell him, even if I'm a girl, Dad, I'm going to make you proud. It was so twisted. I should not have had to tell my parents that. They should be proud of me because the simple fact that I exist. I didn't get that. Kamaliza KCPE, kapita mtihani, shule ikanipea presents, mattress, box, nini nini. I went to Kieni Girls High School in Runyenjes. I was so excited. I was so happy. Now, here is where the darkness began. Because I feel like it's when I moved out of the home and now I'm in a faraway place, it gave Dad all the strength now to do anything that he wanted to do. Because macho yangu haiko hapo kumshtua kidogo. Because sometimes I would feel like his spirit would come down when he looked at me.
Yeah.
There's a part of him that would feel
Guilty.
and he would tone down. Angetufanyia vituko, akuwe mzuri hata wiki mbili before the next episode.
Yeah.
So I'm in school, and I remember one time my class teacher then, Mr. Monene comes and calls me. I was in Form 3 and tells me, Lynette, I have some news from your mom. Your mom tells me to tell you that this time around, hautaenda Kiambere mkifunga shule. And I was confused. I'm like, what do you mean? Where is my mom? Alpha was born by then. Alpha was born in...
Alpha is your
my
brother.
my younger brother. We have an age difference of 11 years.
Yeah.
So that also played a big part in my dad being very violent with my mom, because, you know, he would tell her things like she's barren, including my dad's family, his brothers and sisters. And they would just plant these ideas in his head that my mom is not good for anything. So, sio mtu wa maana. And so it was a surprise to us when in 2004, a whole 11 years later, my mom got pregnant with my brother. And she named him Alpha, because Alpha and Omega.
Yes.
Awe mwanzo wa kitu kizuri kwa maisha yake, what God has done for her.
Because she was tired.
She was tired of everything that she had been through. So now Alpha is in pre-unit by that time, because this is, I finished high school in 2010, so this is in 2008, 2009 hapo. Alpha was 5 years old, ndiye ameanza shule. So mwalimu akaniambia unaenda nyumbani kwenu Kisumu. I was confused. All the same, I went. It was such a shock to me, Lynn, to get now to the village. And my dad was not somebody who used to take us to the village. So I was not used to the village. And you see your mom is back home with every single thing that she owned. Your clothes, your everything. So I asked Mom, nini naendelea? Babako wapi? Mbona vitu zote zenye zilikuwa kwa nyumba yetu uko kwa kambi zimerudishwa hapa nyumbani? And that's when Mom broke down and told me that your dad just came home one day from work with a canter, the big one, and he told me to pack everything that I have and get out of his house. I'm going to the village. And it's non-negotiable. And I asked her, what do you mean, Mom? Like, yeah, nilitayarisha babako kazi vizuri, akatoka akaenda, nikachukua ndugu yako nikampeleka shule. In the estate we had a early childhood education center, so my brother was in school. And then my mom she's a housewife at the time, so mama amerudi kwa nyumba anafanya shughuli zake. So Lynn, you can imagine the shock. Well, hakuna shida na mzee, mliamka vizuri. Then 2 hours later, kanta mzima imesimama nje ya nyumba yako na movers wako hapo na wanakuambia tumetumwa na mzee. Amesema utoe kila kitu kwa hii nyumba, hataki kuona chochote kwa hii nyumba. Ameshalipia kila kitu, tunakupeleka Kisumu. The confusion. Up to this day I can't fully understand what my mom felt. The betrayal. Because umevumilia na mtu mambo mingi, umefika mahali unaona ni kijana ulitaka ndio huyu Mungu ameleta. Msichana uko naye anaendelea vizuri, mbona tusitulie? So that day when my mom gave me that story, Lynn, that's the day that I took over my dad's duties in my heart.
Oh.
I cried because it was very painful. And I told God, I may be still young. I'm only 16 years old. I'm in Form 3. But God, mamangu na ndugu yangu wasipitie tena mambo ambao tulipitia. Especially Alpha, I'm very protective over my brother. Sometimes even people think he's my kid. I did not want my brother to see the things that I saw. Because remember, children in a family are not born with the same spirit. You'll see even with some of your siblings, there's one that you need to protect more.
That's my small sister. Yeah.
And then there's you now, maybe the first, second born, who God has given you that to just see
the spirit of a fighter.
Yes, of a warrior.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's opposite, you know. The girl is now the one that God gave that spirit of I can face anything. And my brother is this quiet, humble boy who does not have any problem with anyone. So nikamaliza shule, Lynn. Vile nilimaliza shule baba akaniambia, he wrote me a very nasty message. He told me that first of all I'm useless, I'm worthless, and he does not want to associate with me. Na kama kuna mahali kwa akili yangu nimekuwa nikijibeba kwamba yeye ni babangu, I should throw that idea away. If anything, I should go to that stupid mother of mine and ask her where I came from, because I don't belong to him. And the reason he's doing this is because he's now dating somebody younger at the time in Kiambere, na amemleta kwa ile nyumba.
Kai.
Sikuwahi mjibiza vibaya.
But how did that? This is your dad.
This is my dad.
Always denying you.
Always denying me. It's painful, Lynn. You get confused because you don't now have a sense of self. We normally derive our sense of self from our parents.
Yeah.
So when the parent is detaching from you,
it kills you.
Who am I then? Kama mimi sio wa Titus.
Yes.
Mimi ni wanani? Legacy gani ama ni boma gani nitaingia wanikubali kama babangu mzazi ananiambia sifai kwa macho yake? But here is where now my mom's prayer warrior spirit came in. My mom would cancel everything that my dad would tell me in the name of Jesus.
Good.
And she would tell me, ni shetani anajaribu kukuweka chini msichana wangu na ninakemea. You are the daughter of this man. You have a home. You have a place. And even if he will not, your father will not help you realize your destiny, there is somebody bigger than your father. And that is the Father in heaven.
Good.
And he's the one in control of everything.
She built that
She
in
built
you.
that confidence in me
Good.
single-handedly.
Yes.
And she never allowed anybody or any situation to make me feel small, even where I was feeling dejected and rejected and like I'm unworthy. Alikuwa anakuja na ninua hivi, mama, hapana. No, you are my shining star. Don't allow anybody to break you down. You don't know what God is going to do in your life hapa mbele, mama. Don't lose hope.
Yeah.
And so I would build myself with the love of my mom. Na naweza sema Mungu alimultiply mapenzi ya mamangu kwangu ikajaza ya mama na ya baba. Because the moment that she told me that, I never went back to look for my dad. Because I knew as long as I have my mom, my brother, and God, things are gonna be okay.
Yes.
But the challenges were not done.
The challenges were not done.
Dad has now left us. He's living in Kiambere, and I'm back in the village with my mom. So this is a year after I finished Form 4. I finished Form 4 just having turned 17 because my birthday is in October. I started school early. So bado sina ID. And I sat there in our compound in the village. And sometimes I say God speaks to me. And I don't say that lightly at maybe muhubiri ama prophetess, no. In quiet moments when I would just sit there, kuna kisima ya maji hapo kando ya nyumba, I would just sit there and I look at my mom and I look at my brother and I told God, let me be the provider for my family. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. But mama amepitia mingi ndio niwe hapa. I need to find a way to give back to her and make sure that my small brother's future is different from mine. Quiet prayers between me and God. My mom didn't even know what was going on with me. This is after my mom had sat me down and told me now some really deep things that I didn't know. How she had gotten sick. She had ulcers. She had duodenal ulcers, ya huku duodenum. She had been done for operation, ya intestines, because of stress levels were so high blood pressure. And alikuwa sickly. And she told me all of this are coming about because of the things that I've dealt with your dad. It broke my heart, Lynn. And then I look at my brother, that time he's so small, so innocent. And I'm like, no, I need to do something. Ilitoka kwa boma, sikuambia mamangu naenda wapi. Nikaenda kwa center, inaitwa Paponditi. Nikaenda kwa shop kubwa, the biggest shop that was there that had an M-Pesa at the time. And I found the owner. Kajiintroduce kwake. Kamwambia, sir, I need a job. I'm smart. I know how to talk to people. And don't tell me no. My mom there and my brother, they need me. Hata kama utaniandika na idea mamangu, nipatie tu chance. The Spirit of God was with him that day. Kaniambia, Lynette, hata tusisumbuane. Go and bring your mom's ID. And if your mom can come and talk to me so that we agree,
Kujeni na yeye.
kujeni na yeye. I went back home the same day. Mom, I've done this and this and this. She was just crying. She's like, no, my daughter, I don't want you to feel like you need to take the shoes of your father. I was like, no, I'm not going to sit here and allow the devil to win. I will fight it in any way that I can. Lazima Alpha atasoma na lazima tutaishi. Katoka na yeye tukaenda akaongea na huyo mtu, akanipatia kazi. So I started my first job as an M-Pesa agent at only 17 years. And that is where now I learned how to talk to clients, how to interact with different type of people from different walks of life, because the M-Pesa was close to the district offices. So kuna wale wakubwa wenye wanatuma kutoka Nairobi, they'll come to this M-Pesa because I'm eloquent. I was good in English. So I got an A in English. All through I've loved English and literature. Napenda vitabu. So I was living in the village, but my mindset was very broad. I could have different conversations with them about different things that are going on. And so they liked that particular M-Pesa because of the Kagal who is there. Now my grandmother would come, anapita tu ile anachungulia, lakini my dad's mom ashughuliki na nini inaendelea. Sijawacha kutafuta kazi bado. I turned 18. When I turned 18, do you know we had to trick my dad for him to give us his ID ndio niweze kupata yangu. Because according to him alikuwa anafunga njia zote, aoni haja yangu mimi kuendelea kwa maisha. So I think it was something in the lines of Alpha's schooling. There's a document that was needed by the teachers. And because he had a bit of rahisi kwa kijana wake, alituma. But ile ID nilikuwa naitumia yake tulikuwa naitaka ndio niende kupata ID yangu. So I got my ID. When I got my ID, I went to Kisumu to open a bank account. Remember, Lynn, I'm in the village. I don't know anything. I don't have anything. But I'm reading on books and life in general, newspapers. So I know as I turn 18, I need to have my ID. I need to have my bank account. Niliregister NSSF, NHIF at that young age. All God's doing. When I went to those offices, they would ask me, "Kaka msichana kamdogo hivi unatafuta hizi makaratasi kubwa kubwa hivi za kufanya nini?" Nikawaambia, "Mimi najua Mungu atanifungulia njia nipate kazi, na najua mtu akipata kazi anahitaji hizi documents. I've already done research kwa cyber cafe hapo. I need these documents," and they would process them for me. So that day when I'm in Kisumu, I meet a girl that I used to know. And she introduces me to a restaurant where they needed a karaoke host. Remember when I was in school, I used to do poems and dramas. Soloist wa shule ilikuanga Lynette. So I thought to myself, this could be a good opportunity for me. If it's a work environment that is safe, I can be able to do something here and help my mom. And so Lynn, I went and talked to the person. They hired me on the spot. Hii urembe wote unaona niko nayo kwa sasa ni mamangu alinifunza. Na alinifunza juu ya shida. Si kujifunza kutengeneza nywele ati because I had nothing to do. Hakuna pesa ya kwenda salon. So you have to become creative. Hakuna pesa ya kununua manguo smart. So utaenda mtumba na mama nifunze hii unamachisha na hii. With the little that we had. Msichana lazima, mama would tell me, hata kama tuko na shida aje my daughter, msichana lazima, usikae kama shida zako. You must look neat. And so she would teach me how to do my hair, how to apply a bit of makeup to look decent. Sometimes I would even borrow her clothes because I don't have nicer clothes at the time. And I go there and I do my best. They used to pay me 6,000 shillings per month. Na ile tips yenye unapata kwa client. So the job was from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. in Kisumu town. Naenda nafanya hiyo kazi, nikipewa hiyo kidogo yenye nimepata napitia supermarket. At that time we had Ukwala. Napitia Ukwala, it was 24 hour. Naingia nafanya shopping ya nyumba ya chakula, gari ya mwisho matatu yenye inaenda Nyakach naipanda saa hiyo. Na nikiikosa I would sometimes sit there with the DJ until 5 a.m. in the morning. So nipate basi matatu ya asubuhi. Mama ananingojea kwa stage. Nakuja na hiyo kidogo yenye Mungu amenibariki nayo. So as I'm doing this and I'm networking with people, hata bado sijui my fate kama nitaingia university. Barua ikakuja. UON, Bachelor of Arts. told my dad about it. He didn't do much. I did not sleep on myself. Mamangu ananinongonezea kwa masikio, Lynette, we start saving. So nakaanza kuweka pesa kwa ile bank account yenye nilifungua kama hata sijui ni ya kazi gani. You when I was supposed to...
The power of manifestation.
She told me you will go to school. One way or the other you will go to school. At this time I'm doing the karaoke on Thursday. I'm still a primary school teacher.
You are a teacher now?
Yes. Yes. Because my mom is talking to whoever who can help us. And I'm willing. Yani sijui nitawaambiaje, mimi nasemanga Mungu alinipea roho ingine ya ujasiri. Sijawahi ogopa kazi Lynn. Hata kama nitauza chips, hata kama nitauza nyanya. Juu tulikuwa na kibanda. Mom's job now ilikuwa kibanda kwa soko. So the karaoke job is on Thursday.
Yes.
But from Monday to Friday, I am a teacher in a primary school, local primary school, where they are paying me 2,000.
You are teaching them English?
Yeah, all subjects.
Yeah.
All
yes.
subjects.
Yes, because we are not sleeping on
We are not
ourselves.
sleeping on ourselves.
Yeah.
Na nimejiambia, shetani hautanishinda nguvu. What God has in store for my life is bigger. So that if you think that by denying us your presence and your finances, we are going to rot, no,
We are sorry.
God is going to make sure that we
Yeah.
are okay.
Yeah.
And for me, I found my satisfaction and my sense of worth when my mom and my brother are okay. Hiyo ndo nilijipea, that's my achievement in life. I told God, even if I'll not amount to a big job or a stable life, as long as my mom and my brother are okay, nitaji count nimefanya kazi yako kwa maisha yangu.
Wow.
My mom sometimes would cry and say I'm overworking, but I was like, you overworked so that I could be here. You went through all those pains so that I could stand here.
You held on.
You held on to me through the darkness that we've been through in our life.
So I could be here.
I'm not leaving you behind. Kafanya hiyo kazi 2012 September. Nafaa kuingia university. Babangu he stood me up when I came to Nairobi. I came to Nairobi, nimeshaenda shule, nimejaza registration, nimepewa mpaka hostel, ananidanganya anakuja.
Kai.
Nikamngojea hapo kwa hiyo square ya UON na
Nothing.
tuvitu twangu akukuja. Hiyo pesa yenye nilikuwa nao nimesave throughout the month was 20,000 shillings. Nikaenda kwanza kwa shule, nikalipa tuition fees. At the time, the Namos, you know John Alan Namo?
Alan Namo.
His family. I was in high school with his small sister called Rosemary Namo. And I blessed this family so much because they came through for me
Kai.
in ways that you can't imagine. Mama Njeri aliniambia, Lynette, usiwaiteseka Nairobi na niko hapa. And she does not know me other than the fact that I'm her daughter's friend. And they gave me a home to stay.
For real?
Yes, real life story. I've stayed with the Namos for almost 1 year. The mother akinunulia mtoto wake nguo na ananinunulia. Wakikula na wanakula na mimi.
Kai.
Hadi sometimes una feel shocked because uko kwa wadosi, uko mali pengine yenye is so different from your life. What am I doing here? But that's how God works.
Yes.
God will bring people into your life and even them they'll not know what they're doing. But they're literally setting you on the path of your destiny.
I love that. I love that.
Mr. and Mrs. Namo, wherever you are, I bless you for the kindness that you showed me when I had nobody in my corner.
Kai.
Mama Njeri would call my mom and console her and talk to her and give her hope and tell her Lynette is okay where she is.
Wow.
Na time ikifika nataka kwenda ushago na sina fare, tanipatia fare niende nikaone mamangu. Kaendelea na masomo, napita AB, my transcripts. Nikaingia second year. Sasa dadi ni kama aliona ale watu wanaendelea poa. Hapo sasa ndiye akakata usaidizi wake ya kulipia school fees. I tried applying for bursary, but because help, but because dad, unajua unaekanga information ya baba na mama, dad had a big job and is earning so much money. So help waliniambia they could not give me the loan because my parent is coming from a good place, they are able to pay my fee,
to cater for your
and
fees.
I'm a job student,
Yeah.
so it's not like ati ni pesa mingi.
Yeah.
Wanaona mzazi wako anaweza lipa hii 28,000 ama ndio ilikuwa 30 at the time. So nikavunjika moyo. I had to drop out.
Come on.
And that's where now I lost hope for a minute. I started drinking. I was angry. I felt lost. I felt like life was unfair to me. I'm trying so hard. Mbona imefika hapa? I could not understand what was going on. My teachers were also upset with my dad. This was our bright star in this school. We expected Lynette to be even a doctor or something. Why are you doing this to your child? But my mom reminded me one thing, that God does not care about your papers. And today I'm here to tell any lady, any guy, anybody out there, hata kama ukumaliza shule, hata kama una hizo makaratasi, kama Mungu ameweka kitu ndani ya roho yako, let me tell you, it will come to pass. Because the ways of God are mysterious. Huyo Njeri huyo, wakati nimeachishwa shule, through her parents, you see this Dr. Mattress, walikuwa wanataka sales representative. And they didn't care about qualification. They just wanted somebody presentable who can be taught the job. So Njeri akaniambia, Lynn, dress up kesho vizuri, print ka CV kako, kuje tuende kwa ile ofisi ya Dr. Mattress, manager mwenye ako hapo anaku expect for an interview. Kapanguza machozi zangu, put on my big girl pants. I remember I was just 20 years old and I went to that office and I gave them the best of me. And he was so impressed. He sent me to the main factory. It's in Roiro. Turea, now to meet the owners of Dr. Mattress, the CEO of Dr. Mattress. Mimi remember nothing to my name, but somehow nimepata opportunity ya kwenda pale. Nijata niliomba one of my friends called Rita, nilimwomba pesa ya transport ya kwenda huko juu sikuwa na anything, mami pia hana anything, na feeling too on the things going on the ground. And she's praying for me, because she used to tell me, I may not have the money to help you, my daughter, but the prayers between me and God will ensure that your life will be okay. And that is what I bless you with. My prayers and the love that I have for you will move your mountains. So usiwahi nidharau mama kwa juu sina, nikamwambia mama siwezi. Ninajua hauna na ungekuwa nayo singekuwa hapa. Lakini hata hivyo maombi yako ndio the most important thing. Long story shortly, I went in there and I aced that interview.
Good job.
And I got that job. I was posted at Tile and Carpet, Mombasa Road.
Wow.
I'm selling mattresses, I'm talking to clients, I'm mixing with people, and every money that I get inaenda wapi?
Home.
Nyumbani. At least Alpha kwa shule, mama kona kapesa kake na jua halali njaa. Hiyo time tunaishi nyumbani kwa single room ya mabati. Juu Fadhi amesha kuja nyumbani, ametufukuza kwa boma yetu. And he did that in broad daylight. I'll never forget that day. My father really embarrassed us. Alikuja na mwanamke mwingine mwenye sasa ana date, a different one. Akasema huyu ndio mwenye anaingia kwa hii nyumba. Wewe na hao watoto wako mtoke na sitaki kujua mahali mtaenda. Na ni mchana kwa village, na village za Wajaluo manyumba zimekaribiana. So if drama is happening in house number 1, everybody is seeing. Then it started raining. Amesimama hapo nje anarusha vitu zetu chini.
And your grandparents,
they cannot do anything. And that is where I can say I fault the people of my father's family, those people of that side, because he would do the most unspeakable things and nobody had the guts to come and tell him what you're doing is wrong. None of them. Because he's their breadwinner, he's giving them money, he's paying their children's fees. Yetu wake wako hapa na hata wana mbele wala nyuma, anawafurahisha na mapesa, anakuja nyumbani, they go out drinking. You know your father is around. Mjakula nyama hata niseme mwezi mzima, ni mboga na ugali. And he knows where you are, but he cannot do anything. And his family protect him. And this is why I need to call out the families of parents who do this kind of things. You need to speak up. You cannot just say you'll hide behind the love you have for somebody even when he's about to kill people, simply because kuna pesa kidogo anawapatia. It's wrong. It is really wrong.
It's wrong.
Because you see, you know the story, you know this man, you know this woman, you know these children. But because the brother is the one providing you with pesa hapa, even if they are killed, ndugu yetu ni mzuri. Hao watu ndio wako na shida na yeye. Anyway, so my mom at the time anauza kwa soko, tunaishi kwako ka single room Mabati, niko Nairobi na hustle.
Unatuma pesa.
Natuma pesa ni make sure mama. Na pia nakaa Nairobi ndo nisiwe mzigo kwa mam. At least najua nikituma pesa anaweza manage yeye na Alpha vizuri bila kunishughulikia mimi. I wanted really to ease her burden. While I'm at Ellen Carpet, God comes through again. One of the managers there aka notice nafanya kazi vizuri, na the people I used to work with waka notice nafanya kazi vizuri. So somebody had quit their job. Somebody had just quit their job. And they said, Lynette, we are going to propose to the manager. You'll be given that position. You've been working with us. You know our system. Clients love you. Actually, that lady, she's called Fanny's. I have to give people their flowers while they are still alive.
I love that.
Fanny's alinishika mkono. Sir, we have Lynette here. She's been working with us. And she's hardworking. Instead of us looking for somebody else to fill that position,
Give Lynette.
why don't we give her? Nikatuma kwa HR. The Lynette who did not finish school. The unworthy Lynette. The Lynette who was not supposed to amount to anything. Mimi, nimekalishwa kwa ofisi ya HR. Ananidiscusia ka package kangu ka 30,000. Do you know how much I cried praising God? I'm like, oh my goodness, what is this? And they trained me on the job. Isn't that God?
That's God.
I started working there.
Wow.
I called my mom, she could not believe it. Kaniambia mami akisuko umefanya mambo mabaya na upate kazi. Nikamwambia imagine no mami. Siwezi, nikajibitray vile umenilea. Hii kazi imekuja hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi. And now at least I'm able to comfortably pay my brother's school fees. He's in private, private school, kaflani hapo nyumbani. Akakuwa expensive, but hapo ndio niliona masomo itakuwa beneficial kwake hadi apite aweze kwenda high school ya maana. So while I'm working at Ellen Carpet, at some point the management changed at the time, and I hope I don't mean any ill will when I say this. I'm just giving an honest story.
Yeah.
So the downside of Indian bosses is that sometimes they can be very racist.
Yeah.
So at the time, you know, you don't want to be called monkey, stupid, mujinga, nini.
Of course not.
So my spirit was not okay with working there under those conditions. And so one day after praying, I just said, you know what, Lynn? God cannot allow you to stay somewhere where you are not valued. Trust him to open another door for you. Because my spirit was being broken. He was reminding me of the things my dad would tell me about myself. When you're calling somebody stupid, monkey, sijui mujinga, it's not okay. It triggers me. They don't know my story. So I just wrote a letter of resignation and I sent it to the boss. He tried to call me, but I was like, no, the working environment is not... It's toxic. Sasa hapo unajua bado nafanya utu tu selfies tangu twa Instagram at the time na Facebook. I'm not even thinking I could be a model. Those are thoughts you have and dreams, but in the life I'm in, hizo sio vitu zenye naona hata zinaweza nikujia kwa maisha yangu. So one day I'm following this lady, Miss Ndiritu, Linda Ndiritu, and I bless you so much. And Linda posted that she's looking for models for a hair gig. I didn't even know which hair gig it was. Na kawerevu kangu, tupicha twangu tunye nilikuwa napiga tu smart, nilikuwa natuweka kwa folder.
Yeah.
Akaandika email address yake hapo. I did not waste any time, Lynn.
You sent.
I took my phone, nikaingia kwa email, nikatuma email na nikatuma tupicha twangu. Next thing I know, Darling Kenya.
Wow.
Call me to industrial area where they have their offices. They want to work with me as a model. Kauliza, sio joke, sio scam. No, wow. Lynn, come. Because she had already started working with them. I go.
Yeah.
Lynn, I got my first job with Darling Kenya.
Wow.
From Mabati to being on a billboard on Mombasa Road. Nilikuwa saa zingine nasimama hapo Naiangalia hivi, siamini. Because they just loved my face. I had favor from God.
Favor.
And I remember that's where I got my first big paycheck.
Yeah.
250,000.
Oh God.
Immediately, mamangu alikuwa ananiambia natakanga salon na kinyozi. Nikamuita Nairobi. Twende. Tukaenda huko chini River Road.
Chukua.
Blow dryer, nini, kila kitu nilinunua na niliambia Mungu hiyo pesa ni ya huyo mama. Hiyo pesa sio yangu. I set up for my mama ka salon huko nyumbani. Kampatia alipe school fees ya brother angu. And then now, you know, I don't want to continue living with somebody. Now I want to be able to live by myself. So I got an apartment at the time. I was living in Athi River. I'm doing Athi River to tile and carpet and back. So nikaendelea na modeling yangu ya Darling.
Yeah.
Wakaiwork na mimi for like 2 years. Kwa ma product packaging, watu wanadhani, you know, people used to think that I'm this bougie girl. Because, you know, unadhani ni msichana wa high class sana juu. Mambo kama hayo ya modeling inakuwa associated with girls from big homes, you know.
Yes.
But they don't know the story behind me.
Yeah.
They don't know the things I'm dealing with on the
story
ground.
behind the
you
glory.
know?
Yeah.
And for me, I'm still trying to survive. Kwa sababu ile shimo baba amewacha nyumbani ni kubwa. Ni lazima niijaze. So I don't even have time to think about myself.
Oh.
You're trying to make friends, but they don't understand that you can't do the things they are doing
because you have responsibilities. You are the father.
And it's a very isolating life when you are the breadwinner as a firstborn, because the people in your age group are doing different things. And they can't understand. They think you're ignoring them. They think uko na maringo. Hiyo yote niliambiwa, najiringa, najiona. Jamani mngejua shida ambazo niko nazo. Na bado kuna my own emotional trauma that I'm still trying to heal. That I'm still trying to understand. But I have to put myself aside first. Because nimesema mom na bro ndio my first priority. So inabidi unajitenga na watu. You don't have a lot of people that you can trust. You don't have people who understand you. There are days when you wake up and you are sad. The sadness of the past fills your heart.
Yeah.
And you just break down and you're crying. You are depressed. But at the same time, you have to go to work and do these things. And it gets you to a point where you're not sure of who you are. You're not sure of the next step. You're not sure of what is right and what is wrong. Things become a bit blurry.
Because all you know is survival.
Survival mode. Uko survival mode. And sometimes that let's say men, you'd meet a good guy, but because of the pain and the drama you've seen your dad take your mom through, roho yako inaogopa.
You cave.
Utaki maneno. There's a friend of mine who used to tell me that I was very slippery. It was very hard to get me even to sit down with you. I'll talk to you, but when it comes to
serious stuff,
napotea naenda chini ya maji, nitatokea miezi zingine kadhaa.
Yeah.
And it was not healthy at the time. I didn't know that is a trigger response of somebody who has gone through PTSD of that nature.
Yeah.
You whenever you feel a connection with somebody, even if it's a friend, you don't want to create those roots because life yako consist of you being uprooted from any place where you've tried to plant yourself.
Good.
So unakuta tu niko on high alert at all times. Sina amani kwa roho yangu. Nikafanya na Darling hiyo miaka 2. It went well. Then I decided within myself. I talked to my mom first. I was like, Mom, Alpha anakaribia kwenda class 8. And siwezi taka aende class 8 na siko in a position ya kulipa fee ya high school comfortably. I think it's time for me to go back and look for an official job, an office job. Because again, with modeling, you'll not get deals all the time.
Gigs,
people
good.
don't know you.
Yes.
Especially, mimi hakuna mtu najuana naye hapa Nairobi, my kin or an auntie. No. I've literally survived now guardian angels when you wanna connect na places. So I saw into the future and I was like, it may reach a point that you are not getting these gigs and your brother is in school. And I promised God that I will not want my brother to fail. I'll make sure he finishes mpaka mali anataka kuenda. A former friend Again, I'm telling you, my
Guardian
life,
angels.
guardian angels are the people who have moved me. I've not made myself. Queen Lynn is not Queen Lynn because of herself. Queen Lynn is Queen Lynn because of the many guardian angels that God has sent into my life. And that is something that I have to praise God for. And I told him that the moment atanifikisha mahali niko na platform yenye naweza sema asanti publicly, I'll say that it is the grace of God that has kept me. Because this guy used to know us from back in the village, and I was encouraging him back in the village. Even him, he was going through hard times. Nikamwambia, anaitwa Ben. Nikamwambia, Ben, ukipata chance, ebu enda shule na ufanye HR. You know how to talk to people. And you know, from those small conversations back in the village, Ben found a way. When he got his first job, aliniambia, the voice of Lynette is what came to my mind.
Wow.
And he went and he started studying HR. And this is years later, now he's a HR officer in a recruitment agency.
Yeah.
And he's reaching out to me and asking me, Lynette, where are you and what are you doing and how can I help you? Mimi God amenifanyia mambo mengi kwa maisha yangu, guy. So I was like, sina kazi sahi, lakini sina makaratasi, mimi nitapata kazi aje? Kaniambia, Lynette, don't worry about that. Just send me the experience that you have.
Yeah.
So kasivi kangu kalikuwa na hiyo job ya sales rep wa Dr. Mattress, na Apple Tile and Carpet, and nothing else.
Yes.
This is the year 2016 ikienda kuisha. 2017 ikianza January. Nimepeana CV December.
Yeah.
Again, the Spirit of God just told me, I've always been a girl to dream big, even when I don't have anything.
Good.
So I was like, I need to get a passport. Lynn, it came to me. Sijawahi enda hata Mombasa hiyo time.
Yeah.
Mimi najua tu Nairobi,
Na Kisumu.
Embu na Kisumu. Sijawahi enda mahali pengine. You need to get a passport. The time I was doing bottle service cards, the way wa Glenfiddich, kunaonanga wamevaa tu uniform. Hiyo ndo kazi nilikuwa nafanya sasa kusurvive.
Yeah.
Pesa yenye nililipwa hiyo kazi weekend 5,000. Nikaingia kwa eCitizen, nika apply passport. Sijui mbona mamangu hadi hiyo siku alinita mjinga. Madota, sometimes you can be so stupid. Wewe unaharibu pesa kwa nini? Mbona 5,000 yote? Mama, si unaharibu pesa. Hiyo pesa si ungenitumia hapa nyumbani chakula. Nikamwambia, mam, sijui mbona lakini roho yangu inanituma nitafute hii passport. Oh, the glories that God was preparing for me. March, Ben calls me. Lynette, are you available for an interview? Oh, yes. When? I go for the interview. Mepanangana na watu wenye wako na files kubwa kubwa. Sisi nikafeel, Lynette, I think today you have chewed more than you can swallow. Huku ni wapi? Then Ben is like, don't worry, Lynette. We kuja. Juu nilifika kwa mlango nataka kutoka.
Yes.
They're called flexi personnel. They are long gong road.
Yeah.
Naona kama hapa leo umeniita kwa mambo ambayo nitajiaibisha mbele ya watu.
Yeah.
Lynette, sit there. Wakaingia wenye wanafanya, wakaingia ikafika tani yangu. So this is inaitwaje ile Zoom.
Yes.
Zoom interview.
Yes.
Mimi ngoja kuona Mwafrika mwenzangu. Ni Zoom interview and the people I'm looking at in the screen are all white people. There was just one black lady. These are South Africans. Remember, you are called for the job and they don't tell you what the job is about.
Yes.
They'll tell you when you're there.
Yeah.
And they'd start asking me all these questions. And I'll tell you, Lynn, for a fact that that day I felt God. Peace ingine ilinishika na confidence ingine ilinishika. Nikaji-express in a way that I have never done before.
Yes.
And I've always been very honest with my story when it comes to my employers. Masomo yangu imefika hapa, lakini najua kujituma kazi. And if you give me the opportunity, I'm going to be an asset to your company.
Wow.
And do you know what the CEO, the company is called Amrod.
Yes.
Amrod is Africa's biggest manufacturers of corporate clothing and branding. So easy tunaona Isuzu, Toyota, Nini, that's the company that produces that for the whole of Africa. And I think even now they've branched out of Africa. And they were setting up now a Kenyan branch. And they needed people to be in that showroom and talk to their clients and process orders from South Africa to Kenya. And simply because of the way I presented myself and the grace of God that was upon them on that day, I finished like this, nafunga mlango, Ben anakuja akikimbia, Lynette, email imetumwa and they want you. Usirudi kwa nyumba, rudi ukae hapa, we need to process. You are NHIF, you are NSSF, all those things, they want to see them. The same papers that I was looking for at 18 without even knowing what I'm doing.
The same, oh God.
Ndio hizi zinahitajika.
Oh God.
And then the next question they asked me, do you
have a passport?
Ushaitetemeka roho. Hii ni March. Na mwaka ikianza sikujua chochote. Na kumbe Mungu aliwekea hiyo neno utafute hiyo passport, manake alikuwa anajua anaenda kukufikisha mahali ambapo utahitaji hiyo passport.
Amen.
And all this time I'm so scared, but I'm still praising God because he's doing amazing things in my life despite me coming from nothing. I called my mom and she could not believe it. She just started praying on the call and praising God.
Amen.
And in 2 weeks, I found myself in Johannesburg. I was like, huku ni wapi? Nafanya nini huku? Thank you, God.
Amen.
So these people trained me and I'm posted. Can I come back? My mom can't believe it.
Mtoto wake alipanda
ndege akaenda South Africa. Training, kila kitu. Hizo makaratasi ambazo ulikuwa unahitaji za kazi. Wamekupatia yao.
How was your flight experience?
Ushaiogopa? Unaingia kwa sikuwa nimewahi atafika JKIA.
Yeah.
So hata sijui ninafanya nini. I went and asked the first security guard that I saw is the one who took me through the process.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know ati sijui check-in, sijui niliwapea tu hizo vitu, they literally guided me. Wacha ifike time ya ndege inataka kutoka. Mimi na ushamba zanga. Oh my God, we are going to die. We are going to die. So this is my first time on a plane and it's an international flight.
Wow.
The glories of God.
Amen.
And Dad is still lost wherever he is. Alpha is in school, I'm taking care of him. Mom is okay.
Yes, things are looking up.
Things are looking up. I went, got trained, I came back. I started working. Remember my salary was 60,000 at the time. Such an improvement from the 28 that I used to get.
Yeah.
And this is the year that Alpha anamaliza class 8 akiingia form 1.
Amen.
Na nilimuomba. I fasted and prayed and told him, come form 1. I want to walk into that school with my mother in confidence and pay for that school fees in full. Whether Mr. Titus comes or not, I'm going to make sure my brother is in school.
Wow, Lynette.
So I was saving, natumia mom, tunajaza kibaba kidogo. Alpha ka top shule yake. He was a top student in his primary school, Kingstar Academy. Na shule government ikamwita wapi? Kangaroo School. Again, I'm learning that there are places where God plants you for a reason, and no matter how far you go, he will still bring you back there. For me, I consider Embu Town a place of blessing. Not because ati mamangu alizaliwa huko, but because that's where I've seen the most transformation. I was born in Kieni Hospital, ended up in Kieni High School, and my brother goes all the way back to Nyakach, and God brings him back to Kangaroo in Embu. I was like, God is moving. So my brother tukampeleka shule. School fees niko nayo kwa mfuko, mali nimekaa na mom. Babangu alikuja shule kuchungulia kama nimeweza kumpeleka mtoto shule. He came to spectate. He walked in. Mamangu ndiye alimnotice. Ule si ni baba yako anakuja Liret? Ni yeye. Habari zenu? Kijana mambo? Umemaliza kila kitu? Nikamwambia yes dad, I'm done. I'm even thinking he'll call me to the side and ask me if there's anything missing or anything that needs to be done.
Or how much do I need to give you back?
My dad told me naenda kwa choo kujisaidia kidogo na kuja. And that's how he went out of the school and never came back. Alpha was excited to see him because he had not grown with him. Amelelewa ushago. So he asked me, baba anarudi? Kamwambia ukiona imechukua muda mrefu hivi,
Ashaenda.
Ameshaenda.
You were used to that.
I was used to him doing that. Alpha akaendelea na shule. Karudi nyumbani na mom. Challenge ikakuja, mama akagonjeka Lynn. Just stress. Mama akakuwa msick. She's bedridden. Haiwezi tembea, haiwezi fanya anything. I almost went mad. I was calling anybody that I could. Saa hiyo tuko na hospital cards za KenGen zenye unapewangwa. An employee of KenGen is given a KenGen card that you can use in the approved hospitals, Mpisha, Aga Khan. And at least those years when he was doing all these things, he had never denied us medical assistance. So we could still get treated. This time around alienda huko kwa ofisi. Akawaambia block your card ya huyo mama na huyo mtoto msichana. So Alpha pekee ndiye alikuwa anaweza kupata medical attention.
What?
So kuna mama nyumbani mgonjwa, inakuchanganya kichwa, unashindwa hizi mashida zitaisha lini. You get tempted to just say liwe liwalo. And I have to be real with you. It wasn't always a bed of roses. Sometimes I just go out and get drunk because I don't want to remember the life that I live. And it is God who would save me in those moments because hakutaka niangamie. My mom would also call me and tell me, Lynette, I know life is hard. But hiyo pombe ndio iliharibu babako. Usimwache shetani akushike mateka na the same thing that he did with your dad. My daughter, you are not a drunkard and I will refuse. In the name of God, upotee hiyo Nairobi. I remember my mom called me that night at 2 a.m. in the morning. Because I was so drunk, I was coming from K1. And I actually, phone yangu dial mamangu and she could just hear me like talking and clearly I'm drunk. She waited until I got home and she called me. And that was the turning point of my life. Uchungu ambayo mamangu alinihubiria nayo hiyo siku saa 8 za usiku zilinislap. She told me, you are not a child who will just allow the devil to come and steal what is yours. Alcoholism is not in your blood. I refuse. No matter how stressed you are, I will take you for therapy if need be. I will talk to you if need be. Call me at whatever time of the night, Lynette, if you don't know what to do. Mimi ni mamako na nakupenda kuliko kitu chochote kwa hii dunia. Lakini mami, usikubali. Usikubali anasa za Nairobi zikuchanganye kichwa. And you know, for me at that time, I'm in Nairobi and I'm by myself. And the people around me don't understand my problems. To be honest, that is what would send me to a club, for example. When you're drinking, you're in this state of stupor where you forget the things that you're dealing with. It was very unhealthy. And you know, so the devil will continue fighting you. The enemy will continue fighting your talent because anajua huyu msichana maybe kuna kitu Mungu atafanya kwa maisha yake. Nataka nimshike hapa ndio asiwahi grow. So mamangu alikuwa ananiprofesia God's word on the phone. That is always what she would do. Anytime I would make a mistake because of my hopelessness or my despair, she was there. She was there kukemea na kunikumbusha.
You're a child of God.
Child of God. Lynette, nimekulea kwa kanisa.
Kai.
Usiniibishe mtoto wangu. Hata kama maisha ni ngumu, aje rudi hapa nyumbani ukae na mimi, lakini usipotee. And she prayed for me.
I want to take a break. Guys, allow us to take a break because I want us to give Lynn as much time as we can, because this is a very important conversation to our audience. Childhood trauma is not a joke. The things we say to our kids, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. And I've said in this show, those things, the words you speak to your kids have the ability to walk with them for life. But trust you me, there is an amazing happy ending to her story. And I want you guys to hear it when we come back for part 2 of the Lynn Ngugi Show. So stay tuned.